Hey guys, I'm Chris Overbait, the Blue Collar Agent, and I'm here with my good friend, home inspector, owner of Knoxville Engineered Home Inspections. He's also the primary inspector out there. He is a mechanical engineer from Clemson University, got his degree there, and he has been a home inspector for about how long now, Bert?
Since 2008.
2008. Okay, so been home inspector 2008. Wow, so going on a couple decades now. So what transitioned you into home inspections, and what's your background? Tell us a bit about yourself, what you've done before, all that stuff.
Straight out of college, did automotive engineering. Designing auto parts, worked in a big factory. After that, designed sports equipment. When my wife and I moved to East Tennessee, instead of looking for a new job, I thought it'd be fun to own my own business.
Okay.
And since my dad was a carpenter, he built houses, renovated houses. I grew up with that and had an interest in housing.
Awesome.
Decided to make the transition, open my own business, and do inspections.
Wow, okay, gotcha. So pretty cool transition, although you're still using the same skill set along the way, just applying it to different. All right, so like for real estate, for example, I'm a member of national local associations such as NAR, the National Association of Realtors, as well as what used to be called CAR. Now it's East Tennessee Realtors Association. But for home inspectors, do y'all go through any type of like membership process? Do any organization, governing body, anything like that?
So for governance, we get a Tennessee license to practice in Tennessee. In Virginia, Kentucky, they have their own license. Some states aren't licensed, like Georgia. But here in Tennessee, you need a license. Now, nationally, I am a member of InterNACHI, which is the biggest home inspector certifying organization.
Wow.
There's another organization called ASHI that's been around for a longer time, but they've been eclipsed by InterNACHI. So both fine. They do good training and certifying, continuing education. So I'm a member of that as well.
Awesome. That's extensive to say the least. Okay. And what type of, so far in your career, and I personally know you, so I know that you've had a rather successful career and you've been very blessed in that regard. What accolades or awards, any type of stuff like that, have you been blessed to win over the years?
Well, in the big one, 2021, Inspector of the Year.
Nice.
For international, that's over 35,000 home inspectors worldwide.
Wow. Okay, so that was worldwide.
Yeah.
I thought that was only Tennessee.
Oh,
so I've been telling my clients, sorry clients if you're watching, I've been telling my clients he won for the state of Tennessee. So we need to expand that a little bit. Yeah.
So that's the big award, doubled my business. Like very next year is more.
Well, and rightfully so. It shows that you're thorough. Obviously, they're seeing what you're doing there in the space. So when somebody is looking for home inspection services, be it they just went under contract on a home, maybe they are about to list their home, they want to find out what's going on beforehand, whatever the case may be with the home inspection. Once they decide, I am choosing Knoxville Engineered Home Inspections as my company. From reaching out to you, what does the process look like in the timeline for them getting their inspections set up? And what would you say would be also like a ballpark range on the cost? We know that's always changing. We know it depends on how far you're going, a lot of variables, but just an overall what they can expect.
Sure. So that's two different kinds of inspections. Pre-list inspection, if somebody's listing their house and need an inspection to find out what issues may come up, and they just want to get ahead of the game and prepare for that. The other is more common where somebody's under contract to buy a house. And they need an inspection within that inspection contingency. How fast can we respond? Usually that's got a clock on it more so than the pre-list inspection where they're trying to get their information up front and have an inspection, know what to prepare for, maybe even fix some things before they list.
Absolutely. And folks, what he's talking about there, if you're a first-time buyer and you're watching, regarding that sense of urgency as far as when you're buying a home and the inspection period he mentioned. So once you go under contract for a home and you've agreed to purchase a home rather, so the home went pending, you now have a written agreement, a bound contract on that home. When that happens, you have a certain amount of days to get all of your inspection or inspections complete and to have those done and then to get those repairs resolved, which would be the resolution period. So those are two different periods. that are on a timetable, and often that timetable is a very sensitive timeline because in a really hot market, the real estate agent, he might write or she might write that offer for a very short resolution period of time, a short inspection period to let the seller know that you mean business. So some of them are as short as 7 days and stuff like that, right?
During COVID, we saw even shorter sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
But so 7 to 10 days is usually what they tell me they have, and we can always hit that because we're usually available within a few days of when they call.
Okay, so you're normally available within a few days. So that fits most, if not about all contracts. If an agent writes it shorter than that, they're probably a little bit of wishful thinking there, unrealistic expectations. So
now, occasionally somebody is from out of state. This happens a lot in Tennessee because all the people moving in from West Coast and New England, we get a lot of people moving in the last few years.
Yeah, amen.
Trying to find the good Tennessee lifestyle.
Yeah,
Taxation,
freedom,
a lot of good things here. So for those out-of-state buyers, they may be just in town for 3 or 4 days shopping, get a contract, and they need it in a couple days.
Yeah.
So we try to accommodate those people as well. So as far as price range, it can vary quite a bit state to state. In Tennessee, the average home inspection, base inspection without the add-ons like termite and radon test and well inspection, stuff like that, about $460 is average.
Gotcha.
Mine are a little bit more expensive because of my experience, and we do a more thorough inspection, and people like the more thorough inspection going beyond the Tennessee minimum. So Tennessee defines a minimum of things that we have to check, and we go beyond that. We don't want to miss some of the little detail things that people are going to find out after a few months in the house. They're going to find loose doors and loose cabinets or windows that don't work, smaller items.
Yeah.
Not everything's a $10,000 repair.
Amen.
Important to find those too.
Yeah. Majority stuff isn't, though, and the more you find, the better. So if y'all don't know this, and I'm sure you don't because we would not just organically know it, but Bert actually inspected my personal home. Done a ton of work for my clients. They love his work, and what he's referring to about going above and beyond, above the minimum, is when he delivers a PDF for his home inspections, it is thorough would be an understatement, but it's very digestible and understandable for the client. So it's not over anybody's head. It's got clear HD photos. A lot of time he has his drone with him, so he's got drone photos on the roof and stuff. He's got video within the PDF you can click on and actually see, if, for example, if there's a leak or the water running or whatever the case may be. So it's a very thorough process, and considering that this is the largest investment that most people make, or at least one of the top investments if you have something even bigger that you purchase, then if that's the case, then you want to give it the most care and have the most knowledge about it going into it to save yourself the most money. So I always tell folks the hundreds of dollars spent on a home inspection could potentially save you, and most of the time will save you, thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on your home purchase.
So for our average price is going to be around $700 for home inspection.
Okay.
A little bit more than the average in Tennessee. But it does depend on how far we have to drive to get to the property. Properties out of town will have a little bit more charge than in town.
Yeah.
If there's a crawl space, we're going to suit up, get on the gloves and the mask and the high-powered lights and inspect that crawl space. Larger houses cost more. A mansion takes longer to inspect. There's a lot more equipment there, a lot more roof, a lot more foundation.
Amen.
So there are some variables.
And is there a square footage cutoff where that price changes? Or?
It's a scale. So I multiply how many square feet times a certain value. Also, age of the house figures in. New construction goes pretty quick. There's no furniture in place.
Yeah.
Often they're on the slab.
Yeah. Termites ain't going to start eating you.
Yeah. A lot of things are simpler and goes faster.
Yeah.
An older house might have some components that need to be looked at more carefully, like older electric, old plumbing, things that take some more time. So older houses do cost more to inspect. Just to reflect the amount of time that we're going to spend there.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, very good point. And that's one thing also. Get with your agent also. Every state's going to be a little bit different. But some things were acceptable as far as the code was for when the home was built back in the day. And it's not that they did anything wrong then. It's just that they built it according to the best available data they had. And we have better data now. So some things you'll see like, well, what are some common things? What would be a good thing to ask? Sure. Some common things that you see out there in the field, not just related to these old codes, like your open grounds and all that, but just stuff that you see overall that are just common everyday occurrences out there.
So good question. On new construction, it'll be a different list of common call-outs compared to older houses. So on new construction, which we see a lot, this last 5 years, a lot of people moving in, so they're building a lot of houses right now in Knoxville and surrounding areas. What we're looking for there, they're not going to have worn out water heaters and air conditioners and roofing. It's all new materials. What we're finding is materials installed wrong or sometimes missing components. Like on a roof, they might forget underlayment or drip edge or something like that. Sometimes we find things haven't been installed yet, like oversights. You're going to find out your first week in the house, hey, the garbage disposal's missing. Or there's a missing pipe, or hey, this light switch doesn't work. Right. Some easy things you can find. So new construction, it's things that they've forgotten to install, haven't gotten around to yet, or somebody else was supposed to do it and they haven't come back yet.
More on the production end of things.
Yeah, production end of things. On older houses, we're going to see worn out roofing, worn out water heaters, air conditioning. More common to see foundation problems that take a few years to happen. Yeah. So those would be common things we find on older houses, is things that are worn out, need replacement soon, even though it works today. And another thing, you mentioned codes changing. Yeah. So you'll have a deck or a stairway, and the handrail's not as high as it will be today, or strong. Codes do change, and so we inspect with that in mind. Yeah. That, it fit the codes when it was built. Optional upgrade, you can make it safer, especially if it's a rental. Yeah. Absolutely. Safety things become more important, and the buyer might be more likely to do some upgrades to meet current codes, just reliability.
Are there other inspections that people can buy, should look for, and what are the benefits of them, and do you recommend just kind of getting everything they can, or do you think that some of these other inspections, are more case-by-case basis, house-by-house basis?
Yeah, some of both types. Okay. So, mold testing is something that's not included in a standard home inspection, but it's available as an add-on service.
And that's like the real microbial, testing the... Gotcha.
Yeah, testing the air to see what is it getting into your lungs when you breathe. Okay. That will be more important for people with asthma or bronchitis or any type of lung disease, or cancer survivors. People who smoke cigarettes are a lot more susceptible to not only mold, but any types of irritants. Yeah. So it depends a little bit on the customer, as well as on new construction. You're not going to have nearly the chance of having mold or termites. Yeah. But on older houses, you're more likely to find some problems that sometimes take a little time to happen, especially as roofing wears out, siding wears out, windows get old, water starts coming in, things like that. Yeah. Other things that might apply outside the standard inspection, if your house is on a well, you might want to have water tested for bacteria. Very good. E. coli, different environmental things. Some houses have a septic tank. You might want to have some sewer pipes inspected to make sure, because you're responsible for all those pipes. It's not the city that's in charge of the sewer pipes. Amen. Yeah, it's a private sewer system. So. Another thing people might want to add is a radon test. So if you're from out of state, you might not know what radon is. Okay, what is radon, so they know? Radon is a gas that comes out of the earth. It's a natural element, but it's dangerous. It causes cancer. It's a radioactive gas. We have a lot in the Appalachian areas, from Georgia all the way up to Pennsylvania and Maine. You're not going to find it much on the coastlines, east and west coast. Okay. But here, that can be a problem. Not every house has a lot of radon, but it's something that you might want to have tested for if you have a slab, foundation, or a basement. Okay, gotcha. Crawl spaces are vented, so a lot of that gas can come out. It's good to test those too, but especially if you have a basement or a slab, the chances of having a high reading are more. So if you have kids, it's especially important because they're not as resistant to radon. Makes sense. So it's something we breathe in probably organically, but where you're outside, it's an open air system, so it's not condensed in this room and whatever you would call that. So it can build up. Concentrate. It can build up. Outside, it dissipates, and also it has a half-life. So it decreases naturally. Every few days. Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so radon test, we got septic test, well test. Termite is something people might want to add in our area, because we happen to have termites in the soil in a lot of places. We actually contract with a full-time termite inspection service to do ours. We don't test ourselves, but people might want to include that in just one bill. So we'll have the termite guy meet us there. Awesome. Good deal. That is great information to know. And termite is super important. It's so able to be remedied if it's caught in a reasonable amount of time.
It's the people that don't get it and just think it's okay. That years down the road, they realize the huge mistake they've made in the financial.
I say any house more than a few years old definitely get the termite inspection. On new construction, there's no activity yet. It's all freshly built. But, after a few years, get it tested.
Hey, man, and just so you folks know, I'll go ahead and put a side note down below as well for y'all. But a lot of these other inspections that are added on, obviously they're an additional cost, but they are nowhere near the cost of the actual home inspection, where that covers such a broad range. So termite inspection, radon inspection, very affordable inspections. I won't give you a quote. Those are always changing, and we got inflation, all that stuff. But normally those inspections, at the time this is written, well under $100 for each of those individually, right? So yeah, about under $100 for either one of those, and what you are going to potentially save just by knowing, or having the peace of mind and sleeping good, knowing that you don't have too much radon or termites eating up your home, is very, far above worth the money. Number one, me being the buyer, should I meet you out there? Should I be there with you? Is the seller going to be there? And then also, about how long on average would you say this whole thing should take?
Great. So when we schedule, say we pick a date that's good for me and the buyer. First thing we'll do is, through the realtor, buyer's agent typically will contact the sellers and make sure that day's good with them too.
Yeah.
Because we do prefer if they can leave the house and give us the house for several hours, so that we can talk freely with the buyer. That's a private conversation. All of our findings. So we do encourage them to come if they can, because it's better to be together at the house and walk around and look at the issues we find instead of just looking at a report later.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not possible if you're out of state. We'll do a Zoom meeting and discuss everything. But if you're able to be there, it's even better, because we can walk around the house and look at things. Typically, we do that at the end, after we look at everything.
Yeah.
It takes us a few hours to look at the house first.
Gotcha.
So I'll show up early, at the start time.
Yeah.
And then, depending on the size of the house, and if we're doing extras like sewer scope or mold inspection, radon test, anywhere from 3 to 4 hours after we start, we're ready for presentation and discussion time.
Okay.
And during that discussion time, with the buyer's agent as well, it's helpful if everybody can come talk about it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because all the information that we give the buyer, they may need to, go back to the drawing board, talk with the agent, say, "Wow, we found a big roof problem. We want to get some money to fix this." That's new information that happened that day. You didn't know when you made your offer. So,
it changes the potential value, the perceived value of the home.
If we find something big like that affects the value, hopefully all we find is a few loose doorknobs and maybe repaint a few places, but that rarely happens. But it's also rare to have really big defects that are you have to go back to the negotiation.
A pretty rare thing. For sure.
Foundation problems, roof caving in, plumbing system needing a huge repair.
Hey man, that's a very good point. I'm so glad you brought it up, because that's one thing. It's kind of 2 points on that. And that number, part A of it, I guess you could say, would be the fact that most homes, you don't really find that big giant, holy cow, this the world's caving in type thing. So a lot of folks have that fear, but once you really uncover things, it's typically like a lot of small things, or things that are, pretty doable as far as repair goes. So, I tell folks, like, when you get that home inspection, don't fear it. Don't view it as like, oh, this home. Look, if your home inspector has a 1-page report for you on a 30-year-old home with 3 photos, you hired the wrong guy. Or that is the best home that's ever existed in humanity, and Jesus built it or something. But outside of that, most homes, they're just gonna have stuff wrong with it, and it's part of owning a home. I still got stuff from my inspection 6 years ago that he did that I haven't fixed. You just prioritize. Some stuff, high priority. That's leaking. Get that done today. Termites, yesterday needs done. But the whatever, the one of the fourth toilet in the house that runs a little bit after you're done. It's like, doesn't need done now? Probably not. So important to think. And then the next thing on that is to realize that when you wrote the offer, part B of that, when you wrote the offer, if there was new information uncovered at a home inspection, be it roof is shot or something, you didn't know about it, wasn't disclosed, the foundation is built on a sinkhole, something crazy, whatever the thing is, whatever the case is. If if your understanding of that house was it was worth $600,000 at the time of that offer, and then you find an additional 20, or Bert, for this example, finds an additional $20,000 worth of work that needs done. Well, now your perceived value, the perception of that home, has now been changed to 580 in this example. Okay, so that's always something to consider. Is you do have that resolution period, and the word resolution there, hence the word resolve, the root word. You're resolving any differences you have between buyer seller. You guys are coming into an agreement on what you would like to do moving forward on this home. So never fear a big home inspection. Embrace it. Look at it as mostly a to-do list. Outside of the big stuff that where it's like, hey, we as buyers can't absorb this. We need some help from the seller. Get you a good buyer's agent that's going to negotiate on your behalf. A good buyer's agent, excuse me. It's going to negotiate on your behalf, and let them try to get as much as you can. But realize there's going to be some stuff for you to do when you're done, is all.
A lot of those might be just maintenance issues.
Yeah.
Just wear and tear items that aren't something that really affect the house. You
Crack in the driveway or something is a common one.
Yeah. Concrete cracks. It's not necessarily a trip hazard or something that's settling or foundational. Some things are just cosmetic. Yeah. Or some maintenance item. And those are going to be in the report too. So don't get scared if you see 40 or 50 items on your house. That's normal. Yeah. I would almost, when buying a home, be scared if I didn't, knowing what I know now. Yeah. Because it's like, what didn't they find? Right. Primarily, we do home inspections, but we also do commercial. Got my certifications last year to do commercial inspections. Nice. So, residential inspection is considered to be 4 units or less. So duplex, triplex, quadplex, that's still home inspection. Okay. But once you get over 4 units, now that apartment complex would be considered commercial. Gotcha. And you start to see some different types of systems, sometimes on commercials, like banks of electric meters. Yeah. Bunch of air conditioners in a row, things like that. Shared roofing. And the need for fire blocking between attics. Yeah. Which a lot of units don't have that. All the new construction will, but that's something we see wrong on. So commercial is a little bit different animal, especially when you get into larger commercial buildings, like office parks. We did the Food Network building. Oh, yeah. Because it used to be Food Network now. Yeah. And that's a multi-day thing. Different types of air conditioning involved in what you find on a home. Wow. So we do different types. And I'm about to split the company to do a commercial company separate from home inspections. Nice. Because those customers want somebody who specializes. Yeah. So for the bigger jobs. And being an engineer helps, but having that separate name for a different company is going to be something going forward. So, but for homes, the primary inspection is a common thing, but re-inspect sometimes comes in, especially if we did find something major, or we found some things that the seller agreed to fix rather than give money. So we might go and check, see if it's something right. Yeah. That would be important. You don't want their uncle doing all the repairs. Yeah, they meant for a six-pack of beer or something, So, So, depending on what's on the list to get repaired in the negotiations, that could be something useful to go back to give you peace of mind before you move in that it's ready to go now. Amen. Absolutely. Great content. So
systems for a while, see my whole process. So they did the same process that I do. They know everything to look at. The report's going to be the same. We use the same software.
So the system, the way that you've designed your flow of your process.
Exactly.
They follow that exact process the way that Bert, the engineer, does.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah. So you get the same inspection whether it's me or one of the other guys.
Yeah, because they're using the template, the game plan that you have trained them to replicate out in the field.
Even the same tools. They have the same toolkit that I have.
Perfect.
Things, thermal imaging, sewer scope, lighting, protective equipment to get on roof. You need special equipment to get on roof safely. And we get up on the roof. We don't just look at it from the yard. That's something you don't have to do, but that's part of our system. Is to get on that roof and look at it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I notice you always do a very good job of that. You're always thorough. You got your drone out half the time. Burr is a fellow tech nerd just like me. So we love all the gadgets. So you're going to, drones and all that stuff are going to be part of the process with us. And in all seriousness, although we are definitely nerds when it comes to gadgets, Best Buy is, they know me well, I'll say that. But that being said, we do use these tools to best serve you because, just take, for example, a drone. So me and Bert, we both use a Mavic 3 drone. I believe you also have, right?
I've got the Mavic 3, I've got the Mini 4, and the Air 3.
Yeah, so I think I got 2 myself still. But anyway, so those are going to have the latest in 4K cameras on it, Hasselblad cameras or whatever, and they're going to be able to get up there and give you a crystal clear imagery of that roof, of the gutters, of everything. So you're able to see it from a bird's eye perspective in a way that you just couldn't have even done 20, 30 years ago, really, or to the level that it's able to be done and replicated today from so many different angles and stuff. So with the technology that we use, you're definitely going to get by far the best experience working with us. And thank y'all so much for watching. Have a very blessed day and stay safe out there. Thank you.